Okay, Conrad, how you doing, man? He's like, yeah. He's kind of bittersweet. Just looking forward to coming back home. It was his final duty in killing the old station. And maybe that wasn't really so fun. Okay, we did a re-entry with the pigeon capsule, significantly larger, but we did a burn back here and aimed to put our path into like a splashdown over there. Actually, we ended up over here, so we'll do pretty much the same thing with this one. And just as we cross over that little bit of land there, good. Okay, let's point this thing. Retrograde. And let me see, we actually need to set this up. Staging. Let's do a staging check on this, huh? Let me see. It looks like we don't really have our engines set up. Let's do it this way. I really don't want to screw this up. Oh no. Why? Hello, fuel? UDMH? Oh no. Okay, RCS Delta V. We have enough RCS Delta V. We know this enough. I didn't realize that this one was struck by the same bug. Okay, let's start thrusting with RCS. And there's our periapsis dropping slowly, so we're definitely going to overshoot where I wanted it to deorbit. I suppose actually to really maximize this, at this point we can... No, I want to undock, as that thing's going to deorbit now. Thank you. Okay, turn this back on, turn RCS on. Except we're all out of monopropellant. Stage again, jettison that thing, thank you very much. Turn all that off and turn that off. It looks like this thing is also set differently. That appears okay. Yeah, it looks like you've got a non-standard parachute on here, but I don't expect any problems with it, Kaplank. Kaplank does not appear worried. He appears confident that this is still going to work okay. Let's turn all those rocks off again. Do some acceleration. Bring this guy home. He's going to land half a planet away from our initially targeted range, but I bet you he'll still be here. He probably has friends over here, doesn't he? I actually want to change my airspeed settings. Let's go to equivalent airspeed. There we go. It's one of the updates they had to FAR. So now we got this. We can have all these different, you know, have knots or even miles per hour. Knots. That's what I used my own aviating experience long ago as it was. Knots indicated airspeed is what I always did, but it just seems wrong for Kerbal Space Program after all this time. Let's stick with equivalent airspeed, as that makes more sense for high Mach numbers anyway, and meters per second. Because I'm just as in the context of the game, I no longer think in knots. I think in meters per second. You know. Should figure a way to configure the chatterer mod so that we can't have these guys talking on the radio while doing actually in the middle of re-entry, because they have that effect with the ionization of the atmosphere surrounding the vehicle. Makes radio communication impossible. Conrad Kaplank, yeah, still not as happy as he was earlier, but the man seems confident. And considering that this re-entry should be significantly more gentle than our previous re-entry of one of these vehicles with the Conrad's brother in arms, brother in spaceflight. No one forgot his name. Tabular Ken. I never did this direct return coming back from the moon. The capsule stood up to that just fine. Oh, okay, yep. It's okay. That was expected. That was anticipated. It's an ablative mech jeb. That's what it is. Up to 5 Gs, which, if I remember right, Tabular Ken, he got a little over 6, somewhere around 7. Like it was not quite 7. It's like 6.5 Gs, something like that. This guy coming with an initially steeper reentry, although at a slower overall speed. So yeah, okay, it looks like he's going to exceed 7 Gs, isn't he? Or maybe not. Maybe that needle is hovering right around there. And now the needle's on the way down. So yeah, just about the same G-force. Yeah, it looks like, yeah, he actually ends up using less heat shield than his brother did. And now he appears upset and unhappy. What? Come on, man. This was all working well. Here, let's go ahead and do your parachute. Oh, wait a second. It's still at Mach 1.4 or whatever. I should have paid some attention to that. Oh, well. We'll slow down in a hurry now. Conrad's still very uncertain about this. Yeah, these guys, they like the flying. They like the re-entry. They like the... But they have troubles trusting the parachutes. I suppose I can't really blame them for this. My personal experience, parachutes been kind of mixed. They can be fun, but they, they can hurt too. But I'm certain it's gonna, they're gonna inflate just fine. They're gonna deploy, fully deploy. Everything else has worked okay at this point. I mean, except for the engines. I mean, who needs the engines, right? So just any second now, these things are going to fully inflate. And we'll arrest his descent, probably at 500 meters, right? Conrad says he hopes so. There we go. Yep. Now, honestly, that looks like maybe it's a little bit too much parachute for this tiny little pod, but maybe it's heavier than it looks. Maybe he just wants to descend very, very slowly. Oh, Conrad, he's happy. Yeah, he just wasn't certain that they were going to fully deploy like that. And here he is. He's landed right in the middle of this large extended bay kind of a thing. So, yeah, they'll send out some boats for him and stuff. Conrad Kaplank actually appeared to be kind of like drumming his hands and his knees a little bit. Just, yep. See, he reacts to the splashdown some. He's okay. He's calm about it. Good. Okay, so some time passed after Conrad Kaplank came back to Kerbin. I didn't really feel like recording this whole thing. There's one more component that was not previously part of the station, but we could have used it. I have an airlock module. We put some of the toolbox full of various stuff for things for the using with Kerbal attachment system, various struts and pipelines and stuff. Take a look at this. Something this with just a couple of days in game have passed since Conrad Kaplank came down. I suppose maybe it's been maybe a week or so. Good God, look at this. You know me. You know I like having neat, clean orbits. The game is trolling me. The game is trolling me hard. Whenever I loaded up this save for the first time, I had one asteroid that was in a stable orbit around Kerbin. Now I've got like half a dozen of these damn things. We're really going to have to get working on that project to get rid of those. Yeah, not interested in using them to build or anything, but I'm thinking that we may have to, whenever we don't have something better to do with one of my launchers and on my whole schedule that I got worked up, we're going to have to start going and pushing some asteroids out of the way. Speaking of launchers, here we are, a blank slate, empty vehicle assembly building. Here, won't be empty for long. I'm not going to record every little thing that happens. Well, Station Module 1 contains locked or invalid parts. I'm moving some stuff around. Maybe I can rebuild it, whatever. Well, here, we'll pull this one out as an example. Here's like my revised habitation module that I want to do. Why are the lights on in this thing? Turn the lights off. What's going on with that? Why is it up there like that? There's things that I don't remember changing. 9.9 tons. Currently in the Atlatl series, my heaviest lifter is the Atlatl 5, which at the very maximum that it can lift is 7.5 tons. The core of the station that I'm planning on doing is also 10 tons. Recall that the first time around these things were put into orbit by Spork 10. And Spork 10 has been retired after the death of Jebediah. It pointed out some very serious design flaws with that thing, and we're not going to try to revive the Spork series yet. I'm not going to totally rule it out. Maybe we could do a Spork series again later, but yeah, we're not doing it right now. No. So what the plan is for today, even though previously I'd stated that I was going to wait a little bit, today I want to put together a 10-ton lifter in the Atlatl series. And I've actually got something in mind that I want to do maybe just a little bit different from what we've done in the past with the Atlatl series. I know what's in here. Come on, I saw it. Oh, there we go. Yeah, some of these Cosmos textures, and that's what I had on some of the previous Atlatl and Dart vehicles. Here we go. And how much monopropellant can we put in there? Monopropellant, grand total. I know we probably won't even need that much, but we'll go ahead and call it 1,000 monopropellant, and however much electricity that we can also carry on top of that. Good. Alright, so this whole assembly is already 1.4 tons. We'll need this, the 45-degree thruster blocks, as I really like those. No, I think whereas some of the previous, the Dart vehicles, I was able to do kind of the graceful, it'd do a cone where it'd slope outward and then go down and slope back inward. That may not be possible to do that with this one. We're just going to have a straight fuel tank coming off the back of this one. Okay, so speaking of, we need a cryogenic tank. Yeah, procedural cryogenic tank. It'll be 2.5 meters across. And the texture, I've done a little bit more work on my whole textures. I keep on getting it closer to where I want it to be. There we go. Yes, I was trying to figure... the problem with most of those gold foil textures that I see is that they end up looking messy. And I hate messy. And so I came up with this idea, what about if we have gold foil that's actually organized into tiles? And it's something that, you know, whenever we change the size, it can actually adapt with it. And then I had another idea. Why does it always have to be gold? What if, my thinking is that if the blue foil, I know it's not realistic, but it'll look cool. The blue, that represents liquid oxygen. The gold represents liquid hydrogen. We'll have mixed. We'll have both of them in the same texture, and that represents this tank has liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen. Okay, let's just say, for argument's sake, maybe it'll end up being a good old LBT 45 engine, which will have this one set to run to hydrogen and oxygen. Always max out the tech level, because that's only if you're doing, you know, a career mode kind of a thing with a technological progression, which I am not. Okay. Here we go. Fill that one with hydrogen and oxygen. Fill this one with hydrogen and oxygen. And already, okay, so now we need to figure out how large a fuel tank do we need for this. And we may not be running this engine eventually, but we need to start working on it. And the way to do that is we need to put our test weight on here. I want this vehicle to be able to put something into orbit that weighs up to a maximum of 12.5 tons. So there's 10 tons. There's 12 tons. It calls KMU because it's Kerbal mass units. That's what we used to call them. We don't have one for half a ton. So here's what I was doing. Here, this little part. That weighs half a ton. Good. I was forgetting we also need to have this piece in here, the fairing base. Very important. Let's not be forgetting that for the payload fairings. Okay, so now just this whole assembly. Guess what? Our thrust to weight is already too low. This isn't enough engine, because it's already almost down to 1, and we've got a mere 600 meters per second delta V. And if I pull up my notepad and we load up list notes, Atlatl design goals, we load this, our upper stage, we're usually, let me see, we're looking for approximately 2300 delta V. Okay, guess what? This engine by itself is not enough. Still 1.18. And we start making this longer. I really don't want to make this tank any wider than 2.5 meters. We'll save that for next vehicles in this series. And see, our thrust weight ratio is dropping. It's already down there below 1. We want it to be absolutely no lower than 1, preferably up there like 1. Let me see what I had. Yeah, upper stage 1.4. It actually doesn't need to be that high. We could go as low as, say, 1.2 even. And make that one into liquid oxygen. Thrust to weight ratio is just about right. Here, how can we slide these together if we turn part clipping on? Oops. That actually fits, doesn't it? Yeah, that starts looking pretty cool. Okay, 2,000 and a good thrust. Yeah, 2,000 delta V. A good thrust to weight ratio within what I wanted. Yeah, right about there. 1.1. That's kind of low, isn't it? Maybe too low. I don't feel bad about clipping parts this much. Yeah, our thrust to weight ratio is starting to look more reasonable. Here, yeah, let's expand the bottom again. I do want it to have just a little bit of a taper. Oh, and I'm forgetting we still have to add some other doodads to this, so that's going to lower... yeah, okay. All right, this will work. Doodads. Let's go to the Doodads tab, otherwise known as Utility. Okay, we'll have the big 2.5 meter docking port up top. I want to have 3 of these running around the middle. And we also need, let's give it 3 of these solar panels, like up here. Shame it's just a can. It's just a perfect cylinder. I would have wanted a more cool shape than that, but maybe it's just not going to work this time. Okay, another thing that I like doing is let's go ahead and get into the Real Fuels GUI. Remove all tanks and put them back in, because just after you're playing with the sizes, sometimes it doesn't estimate things correctly. And you want to go through and do it again. You had to kind of zero it out and make it refigure with our permanent size. Okay, well it did figure. Yeah, it didn't change the number this time. Okay. So now we need to start building the rest of the vehicle. First, let's put our payload fairings on there. Do this. I know that these parts, they now have this, this other thing that you can do, the right-click menu. It's staying. I find that it's actually easier to work with the keyboard. It's much smoother. You get finer control over the small changes. Okay, next step. Now we start working on our first stage. So I want my procedural fuel tanks, not the cryogenic. Put one in there like that. Okay. There's 2.5. There's 3.75. I imagine our base will probably be getting up there to 3.75. This one doesn't need to be there yet. And now, okay, and now we can just slightly tweak this part so that all matches up. Oh, wait a second, I forgot. I want to make this into a cone. Yeah, now we need to redo the whole size and shape and whatnot. Okay, top. 2.5, not 3.75, but a little bit smaller. Yeah, 3.375. Base, probably, yeah, we'll go 3.75 for now. About that much-ish. Right around there. Okay, and stick another procedural fuel tank down here. And this one, whoops, wrong one. Yeah, 3 3/4. No, come on, wrong button. Wrong button, no! 3 3/4. And this one, I like using the redstone stripes texture. There we go. And give this lots of length this ways. About that much, just a real quick kind of eyeballing it, you know. Okay, engine-wise, the previous lifter, the Atlatl 5, was using mainsail. So I know At the mainsail, that I need to go bigger than that. So that one was using 1500 thrust. So we need something with more thrust than 1500. I went and got these 2.5 meter parts from KW Rocketry. What does this one do? This one actually does a little bit less than the mainsail. Okay, how about this one? 1900. Let's take a look at that, huh? You know, and if this doesn't work, and there's all kinds of different things we can do, doing clusters. Interesting, the KW Rocketry parts do not have the tech numbers. So yeah, it's what you have there. That's what you get. That's what you're gonna get out of it. I suppose I could go and start looking at, you know, clustering engines around the outside to add to this. Let's think, what would this do for us? Thrust, sea level thrust. I think this one is actually overpowered. That's too much engine for our rocket. That will get us into trouble. Now we're looking at doing engine clustering with some of the smaller engines, which means I want this part. I said this part. Put it on there like that. How about this is a good first stage engine I've used on several of the smaller lifters. If I can just get it to attach and behave itself. Sea level thrust, almost 1. Okay, it's getting closer to what I want. Can we even get away with 8? How about that idea, huh? I kind of like the looks of that. And sea level thrust, okay, that's right about where we want to be. Because we're going to be hanging some boosters on here to make up the difference. Good, ×2 symmetry. Where's my tail fin that I was using on some of these others? Let's just take a look, eyeball it. Is that enough? Let's put it right about here. Actually, that does look enough, doesn't it? Now, the change. I want to do something different. I was just thinking about ways to do this. Thing to remember about playing Kerbal Space Program, even if you're going for some of these realism mods. No, I don't want the all-moving one. Is you still don't have to do things that make perfect sense in the real world. It is okay to still do stuff that's maybe a little bit silly. Things that they don't do in the real world for good reason. And because some of the aesthetic that I'm going for, see, is kind of a Buck Rogerish kind of thing. Here we go. Something like that. Here we go. Kind of Buck Rogerish, Flash Gordon-ish. That's kind of what I was looking for in on my rockets. Like the rockets like people from the 1930s would make when they were imagining what the rocket should look like. There we go. Put that on there. Now just eyeballing it. This actually needs to go up further, doesn't it? This may be a horribly bad idea. I don't know. Ooh, maybe it's not a horribly bad idea. Maybe that's actually going to work. Let's do some strutting, as I know them things gonna wobble. So, what I'm thinking, just the kind of aesthetic that I'm looking for. Let me see, what is my smallest radial decoupler? I think it may be this one. This is probably gonna work for us. Is I'm gonna hang a pair of big honkin' SRBs on those things. It'll be cool. There we go. Let's see, we'll put these all in the same stage, so our MechJeb Plannin' What's-It knows what we're doing with them. We'll stick with our default 1 1/4 meter. That looks like that's about the right proportions. Of course, they have to be red because red SRBs go faster and look cool. Come on, red. There we go. Let me see, nose cones. Let's put some nose cones on them. Procedural nose cones. Curve, no, straight. Length. About like that. Yeah, 1 1/4 meters. And again, red. I mean, there's reasons people don't do this. You don't have to. It's much more efficient to mount them just straight to the sides of the thing and everything, but we don't have to be efficient. This is Kerbal Space Program, guys. Let's go. Maybe we actually need to make them a little bit fatter. Huh. Let's go diameter-wise. Give it a couple clicks that way. That makes a big change, doesn't it? Let's pull that up to about close to like 7,900. Yeah, right around there. That's good. Okay, sea level thrust is down right down to the very minimum, but these things are actually burning kind of long for that. Let's increase the thrust, which will decrease the burn time. I believe we still need to change these wings. These wings aren't quite right. Here, let's pull that off of there. Pull that off. Change it like this. Yeah, they're sticking out a little bit too far. So we'll bring them in there like that. We'll increase the tip size like that. Yeah, like that. Good. Pull that off. Put them up here so that the tip is right up at the where it changes from one tank to the other. Good. Okay, and we'll do one cheating thing a little bit. We're going to disguise that decoupler inside of there like that. So I figure the decoupler is actually built into the wingtip. Good. Good. Oh, does that look absurd or what? Oh, and I need to save this as Atlatl 10, not Dart 10. That's kind of a serious mistake. Okay, so now we're going to be using this to be launching our space station, but I don't feel the need to do that right now. We're just going to launch our test weight. What's it? And this is what I consider this to be just kind of a simulation. This is like a wind tunnel test and other kind of modeling that we're doing. This I don't feel bad after we launch it. Just see how it handles and then revert flight. First, will it explode on the pad? No, it doesn't. How about that? Oh, I think I like it. I hope it doesn't just go absolutely out of control. That'd be sad. Seems to be fairly steady here. Look at that map. Look at that. God, look at that mess. Oh, it's just blatantly offensive is what it is. Okay, Atlatl 10. It's your chance to shine. We're going to find out how you handle. The last staging check. There's all our first stage engines. There's the boosters. That's jettisoning the boosters. That's payload fairing. And that's our final stage. Okay. Let's go. Let's see how it handles. It's noisy. Noisy is good. It looks cool. Okay. Angle over a little bit. Let's do our roll. Very, very slowly rolling. Okay, we're angling over a little bit too much, guys. Let's keep, okay, being kind of difficult to control, but maybe that was me pushing too hard on the controls. That could have been just bad piloting. It's entirely possible. That's entirely my fault. Oh, I think I like that. Yeah, okay. Yeah, once we get enough airspeed hitting all the various control surfaces and everything, the controllability, it's all smoothed right out. Continue to pull back on our gravity turn. Try and straighten it out. Keep on that 90-degree line. Solids are almost done. We are supersonic at this point. Nice even 2 Gs of acceleration, which will drop a little bit after we drop the boosters. Boosters are done, and they separate cleanly. I've got to have a rocket that looks kind of like an airplane. Oh, I'm happy with it. Oh, this is working okay. Alright, let's continue to do more of a gravity turn. Yeah, okay, we were kind of wobbly off the pad. But now it's being nicely controllable. It's nicely stable. Okay, let's pull up my Delta V stats. I want to be keeping an eye on that as we go. They've actually done a little bit too much gravity turn, too much. We don't have that apoapsis up above 92 yet. So let's try and keep that going. Angle up above the horizon a little bit more. And time to apoapsis is increasing. Good. We really should have aimed to get higher up out of the atmosphere faster. Whoop! What? Okay, hang on. This is a mistake. I should have, after playing around with the size, I should have gone and fixed that. Here, let's just continue as with what we have. Okay, let's go with our DART vehicle and make certain that the DART vehicle works correctly. I need to aim more above the horizon. We're too low here, guys. 1.5 Gs, that is perfectly acceptable to me. See, my target is to have 500 meters per second at Delta V. Once we're actually in orbit with that, I think we're not going to have that. But then, how much do we lose with the mistake with the fuel quantity in the first stage? But then again, we might. Bump this up to 200. Actually, we may. Oh, wow, okay. Alright, while we're here, let's open up these panels. I don't know, this texture is better. It's better than the stock cryogenic orange. It's better than that other thing that I came up with. What it's really lacking, it's lacking a couple of things. It's lacking a bump map, and it's lacking any of the reflectivity. This is because I have very limited skills as a texture artist, and I don't know how to make both. How to do those, so I need to do some homework. I need to figure out how to make a bump map. Alright, real close. Well, actually, 548 meters per second. There's a 200 kilometer orbit, almost circular. I mean, we can fix that later. And it does have enough torque to move things around. Just over 100 meters per second RCS Delta V. I call that good. I call that done. I mean, okay, so we need to go back and readjust the fuel levels in the first stage, since we made a mistake there. But look at that. This is balanced. Yeah, okay, I'm going to call Atlatl 10 and DART 10 perfectly functional. That looks good. Yeah, just a couple slight little bits of tweaking here. So let's go ahead and revert this flight. Revert to vehicle assembly. yeah, we're gonna go with it, even though it does not look like a real world rocket. They should, people who make real world rockets, they should hire me to do consulting to make their stuff look cool. I like it. Okay, yeah, and again, I really don't feel the need to record and everything that's going to go with. We're going to start launching our space station components and putting them back together. But I did want to record working through another rocket, building the next rocket in the series, which we have done. So it's done. I will talk to everybody later. Goodbye.